Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. I'm looking for. I found it, and then I'm going to share it. So I'm sharing it to my page so the visitors can come in, so the visitors can see. Shabbat shalom, everyone. All right, we got a special order that we're going to go in today. We got a treat. We're going to surprise y'all with some different types of things. Right? So we're going to do this presentation that we found. We're going to change up the uniform a little bit, and we're going to go into our lesson for today. Our lesson today is going to be the book of Exodus. Therefore, we got an opening statement. Y'all got to put your phones on mute, please. Therefore, we got an opening statement for the book of Exodus. Let's watch. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Brothers, and everyone else in that generation had died. The people of Israel became so numerous that the whole region of Goshen was full of them. Many years later, a new king came to power. He did not know what Joseph had done for Egypt, and he told the Egyptians, "There are too many of those Israelites in our country, and they are becoming more powerful than we are. If we don't outsmart them, their families will keep growing larger. And if our country goes to war, they could easily fight on the side of our enemies and escape from Egypt." The Egyptians put slave bosses in charge of the people of Israel and tried to wear them down with hard work. Those bosses forced them to build the cities of Pithom and Ramesses, where the king could store his supplies. But even though the Israelites were mistreated, their families grew larger, and they took over more land. Because of this, the Egyptians feared them worse than before, and made them work so hard that their lives were miserable. The Egyptians were cruel to the people of Israel, and forced them to make bricks, and to mix mortar, and to work in the fields. The king of Egypt, fearing the growing population of Israelites, orders Hebrew midwives to kill all male infants at birth. However, the midwives, fearing God, disobey the king's command and let the boys live. When questioned by the king about their actions, the midwives claim that Hebrew women give birth before they can arrive. As a result, God blesses the midwives for their faithfulness, and the Israelite population continues to increase. A man from the Levi tribe married a woman from the same tribe, and she later had a baby boy. He was a beautiful child, and she kept him inside for 3 months. But when she could no longer keep him hidden, she made a basket out of reeds and covered it with tar. She put him in the basket and placed it in the tall grass along the edge of the Nile River. The baby's older sister stood off at a distance to see what would happen to him. About that time, one of the king's daughters came down to take a bath in the river, while her servant women walked along the riverbank. She saw the basket in the tall grass and sent one of them to pull it out of the water. When the king's daughter opened the basket, she saw the baby crying and felt sorry for him. She said, "This must be one of the Hebrew babies." At once, the baby's older sister came up and asked, "Do you want me to get a Hebrew woman to take care of the baby for you?" "Yes," the king's daughter answered. So the girl brought the baby's mother, and the king's daughter told her, "Take care of this child and I will pay you." The baby's mother carried him home and took care of him. And when he was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter, who adopted him. She named him Moses because she said, "I pulled him out of the water." After Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were hard at work, and he saw an Egyptian beating one of them. Moses looked around to see if anyone was watching. Then he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. When Moses went out the next day, he saw 2 Hebrews fighting. So he went to the man who had started the fight and asked, "Why are you beating up one of your own people?" The man answered, "Who put you in charge of us and made you our judge? Are you planning to kill me, just like you killed that Egyptian?" This frightened Moses, because he was sure that people must have found out what had happened. When the king heard what Moses had done, he wanted to kill him. But Moses escaped and went to the land of Midian. Moses encounters the daughters of the priest of Midian while at a well. He helps them water their flock and protects them from shepherds who try to drive them away. The girls return home early, and their father, Reuel, asks them how they managed to return so soon. They explain Moses' assistance, and Reuel invites him to their home. Moses stays with Reuel and marries one of his daughters, Zipporah. They have a son named Gershom. Meanwhile, in Egypt, the Israelites groan under their bondage, and God remembers his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He sees their suffering and prepares to act on their behalf.
There's a part 2 as well.
We don't need a part 2. Great, wonderful. Now, what I don't see is I don't see it on Facebook. I don't see it rolling on Facebook. So maybe I did something wrong. I'm not sure. So please bear with me, family, while I go check and see what's going on in Facebook. Okay. Yep, we live on Facebook too. All right, we got it. We're going on. That's rock and roll. All right, family. May the Most High be praised. Our brother Nasik is not with us today. Is Sister Ornette live in the audience yet?
I haven't seen her yet.
Okay. So, Imai, can we get you to read for us, please? We're going to start in the book of Exodus, chapter 1. We're going to start in the book of Exodus, chapter 1. And what we're going to do is make an attempt to lead up until the 12th chapter of the Exodus. But I'm not sure if we're going to get there because there's so much information combined in the book of Exodus. Just the first chapter talks about so many things. So we may not get to chapter 12, which we more than likely probably won't. But we're going to do our very best to break down and explain to you what this is all about. Ima, you got a lot of feedback coming through your microphone. I don't know why. Okay, that's better. I guess it must have been the movement, huh? Okay. So we're going to come out of the book of Exodus, the first chapter. Let's say a prayer real quick. I'll say it. I be our power, our master, our creator, our strength, the Holy One of Yisrael. We come unto you at this time, Father, asking for permission to approach unto your throne. Father, thou who holds eternity in thy hand, thou who commands day and night, and it is, thou who breathe the breath of life into all flesh, and it rises. We honor you, we worship you, we praise you, for truly you are worthy of all our praise. Thank you for allowing us to see another Shabbat day. Thank you for blessing us with the beautiful family that you have surrounded us with, brothers and sisters in your truth, that we can worship and serve you and honor you with, people we know that are given to you the best of themselves, therefore making us all strong. Thank you, Almighty One. We ask that you would allow this lesson that's about to part from our lips be your words unto your people, that you speak unto us with a pure spirit, pure understanding, and pure consciousness, that you allow our essence and our understanding of these scriptures to be elevated, that we might be able to see things today that we have never seen in these books, in this scripture, in this chapter and verse. Speak unto us like never before, Father. Guide us and show us the way that we may forever be grateful and forever be changed within our inward parts in how we worship and serve you and our understanding of what the Exodus story is all about. Unto thee, O great King, we pray now and forevermore. Toda Rabbah, Abi. Abi, Toda Rabbah. All right, family. It's important that we always ask the Most High for guidance during our times of lessons and learning. Always ask the Creator to help us, to direct us, and to show us things that we might not see and that we didn't know in the past. Because all the times when we are away from the word of the Creator, we're bombarded and challenged by spiritual entities that we do not see with our eyes. Those spiritual entities oftentimes, have a hold on us. And it's very difficult to recognize and to shake those entities when they come. Therefore, before you approach the Creator in prayer, you first ask Him for permission to approach. And then if you do proceed with your prayer, you thank Him and you ask Him for protection. Thank Him for protection against the things that are invisible and visible. Things who may try to harm you, hurt you, or stunt your growth in your spiritual walk. So let's get started, please. So we're going to start reading in the book of Exodus, chapter 1. Yes, we're doing things slightly different today because we got a lot of ground to cover. So we're going to move a little bit different today. That's right. Your mic is on mute.
Shabbat Shalom. So we
Shabbat
are reading the book of Exodus, Shemot, chapter 1. Now these are the names of the son of Yeshua who came into Mitzrayim with Yaakov. Every man came with his household: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda, Yissaschar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Yaakov were 70 souls. And Joseph was in Mitzrayim already.
So now let's stop for a second. All of the souls that came out of Yaakov were 70 souls. His sons, his sons, his grandchildren, a lot of the people that he bore, his daughters' children, a lot of the people that he bore, they added up to 70 souls. But Joseph, who also came out of him, was already in the land of Egypt. All of these are his direct siblings. Now, these our people are going into a land similar like what happened here in America. Our people are going into the lands in small numbers, but eventually they're going to grow, and they're going to grow numerously within the land of captivity. But this was before Egypt became a land of captivity to our own forefathers. They were free people in this land at this time that we're reading. When they first went down to Egypt, they sojourned in Egypt. When they went there, they ended up staying there for like 430 years. And when they first went there, they were free people. And then they went into captivity, and they stayed in captivity for a period of time. We, here in Americas, we came to the Americas as free people. A lot of people don't know this history, but I need you to go and check the research. People of color was in America way before the Europeans came over here, way before Christopher Columbus. But, I need you to put your mute on. Mute your phone, please. Way before Christopher Columbus came here, our people was in these lands. Free people living here. Just like we went into Egypt, we were free people living there, right? The ships came over from our countries into this country, from our continent to this continent, before Europeans was even thinking about coming here. We were here for thousands of years before the Europeans came. Then they went and had a slave revolt, a slave ship, a slavery type of mentality where the oppressors now began to bring the indigenous people into slavery. But in Egypt, we wasn't the indigenous people. We were the people who migrated to Egypt. But what they did was they began to put us in slavery because of a form of jealousy. So let's start in the 6th verse, please. 7th verse, 5th verse. Read that part. All the descendants of Jacob.
Okay. Reading once in Exodus, Shemot.
Ima,
Yes.
I can't have you to read because your microphone is supplying feedback. I don't know why.
Probably because I'm in the building and it's hollow
Yeah.
in here.
I tell you what, mute the phone for a second and go open a window or two. Maybe that might help. Open the windows that are closest to you, the front one and the one on the other side, and that might help with the sound. So I'll just continue on for a few minutes. So what happens is we're in Egypt, and Pharaoh, as any man would do, begins to think about the future of his nation. And he sees that the children of Israel are growing vastly large. They're getting so many people in. So many people are growing in the community that they're fearful that one day the children of Israel might side up with their enemies and overcome them. But that's fear. That's a fear. There are many different ways that he could have handled that, but he didn't. What he did do was think about the adversarial way of trying to destroy us and stunt our growth and cripple us. Just like today in this country that we're in today. They are thinking and manipulating ways to destroy us, to stunt our growth, and to hold us back. They're doing just that today. And a lot of us don't see it. But they give us hints and signs as to their plans. And one of the hints and signs to their plans that they give us is this stuff called COVID. This jab that they have been trying to get us to get and make everyone take. It's really a way of annihilating a lot of people because the population is too vast. They don't really worry, at least I don't have word of them worrying about us siding up with our enemies, although Black people in America, one of the fastest growing religions in America for the last 30 years was Islam. A lot of Black people were converting to Islam, and the Muslims, Islamic people, is one of the #1 enemies of the United States. The Islamic people is one of the #1 enemies of the United States. And a lot of our Black people in America for the last 30 years, matter of fact, it might be for the last 50 years, but 30 I know for sure. The #1 religion has been growing is Islam. So therefore, they're preparing to remove the controversy before the controversy even gets started, like what they've been doing for a long time, preparing for their future. But you know, this is what I've noticed, that man can make preparations for anything that he wants. He can poison our food, he can poison our water, he can poison the air. But the Most High, without a doubt, can bring all that to an end. Just a simple earthquake, just a simple flood. He ain't got to go with a flood. He can go with an electrical storm. And an electrical storm will knock out everything that works off of electricity. That's why when they bring up this thing about AI ruling the world, I'm not worried about that. I'm not in fear of that because the king I serve, he's able. And I know that he will do whatever he wants to do to have us controlling this earth as he prophesied many years ago. All he needs to do is send an electrical storm throughout the earth or throughout one of these countries, and that computer stuff is gone. Everything that works off of electricity shuts down. Everything. That's how powerful this king is. But he gave us, these lowly ones, us, the ones who are on the bottom of the hill, he gave us the knowledge to understand these things. So let's read on. Let's try it now. You ready to rock and roll, Ima?
Okay.
It sounds a little bit better, but let's see. Start reading, please.
Okay. We're reading in Shemot, Exodus, chapter 1, verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, and Joseph was in Mitzrayim already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Yeshua were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
So the land was filled with the children of Israel. We waxed abundantly. We grew. Y'all know how black folk, us, we like to have intercourse and produce children. And that's what they did. They didn't wait around. They had multiple wives. They had all these children. Everybody was flourishing. Everybody was growing in the land of our captivity. And that agitated someone else. Your success will often irritate those who are really not rooting for you. And a lot of times, people you got in your circle won't really be rooting for you. They'll be smiling at you and smiling in your face and might talk to you and communicate with you, but they're not really rooting for you. If you do better than them, a lot of people are upset by that. This is what Pharaoh saw. Pharaoh saw that we were increasing greatly. We were growing mightily, and they wasn't doing what their normal do. Therefore, they felt like we were getting too big because the majority are the ones who rule. And they had to come up with a plan, a strategic plan, so that they could stay in power and that we would be demised. But the Pharaoh that was ruling at this time didn't realize what was taking place. So watch this. This is the first Pharaoh that we're dealing with. Read on, please.
Okay. Verse 7. And the children of Verse 8. Now there arose a new king over Mitzrayim who knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are too many and too mighty for us.
Now, stop for a second.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little thing about this may be the king of the Hyksos dynasty. Maybe. But from the research I've done, the Hyksos dynasty was around Abraham's time ruling in Egypt. A lot of people might not know, but the Egyptians often had different rulers or different people in the position of pharaohs. Either the pharaoh died or they were conquered. And if they were conquered, then a new nation could come in and take over, or somebody within the ranks of Egypt could take over. At this time, the Torah is not clear where this new king came from. He may be from the Hyksos. He may be a descendant of the last pharaoh. We're really not sure, but we do know that the first king or the first pharaoh is going to pass away. And this new king or this new pharaoh did not know Joseph. Read on, please.
Okay.
Well, hold 1 second. When it says he did not know Joseph, which means that he did not know all that Joseph had did for Egypt. So that's why I'm saying this might be another king from another nation. He didn't know how Joseph had saved the Egyptians from basically starvation. He didn't know that. He didn't know how the children of Israel was of a royal stock and a royal household. He didn't know those things. So only thing he saw was that they were numerous in the earth in Egypt at that time. And that's the only thing he focused on. Read on, please.
Okay. Verse 11.
9. Go to 9, please.
Okay. Verse 9. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are too many and too mighty for us. Come.
Too many and too mighty for us to control. Every government is worried about population. And if the people are too many and too mighty, they have to come up with strategic ways to control the population so that they don't overgrow and take over the government, especially when you're dealing with a different nationality of people. And we are not Egyptian. So they already knew that we were a different nationality of people. And if my theory is right, and this is a completely different nation, then there's a different nationality of people as well. All right? But you got to remember, it has to be Egyptians, because later is going to talk about us building cities, and the names of those cities was the name of Egyptian pharaohs. So they're probably still Egyptians. It may have been a coup in that town where some of the generals of Pharaoh's army felt like he should be next in line after Pharaoh died. He might have took over. But then if that's the case, he would have known of Joseph's story. But let's read on. Let's see if it unfolds.
Okay. Verse 10. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there befalleth us any war, they also join themselves unto our enemies and fight against us and get them up out of the land.
So what they're trying to do at this point right here, they're still trying to keep us in the land, just like America is trying to keep us in America.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want us to leave. There was a black man who was a very intelligent man. His name was Marcus Garvey, who reserved for Black Americans in Libya a portion of land. I think it's 1,000 acres. A portion of land was reserved in Libya for us, the Black people of America. There was another black man called Haile Selassie, the one who came here to the Americas. He also reserved about 1,000 acres in Ethiopia for any black country that want to return, any black people that want to return to that country, we can return to those lands. There are 2 places that I just named that are set up for the restoration of black people in America.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those men were killed. Both of those men were killed. They don't want you to go anywhere. Believe me when I tell you, they do not want you to leave America. And if you do leave America, they do not want you to leave America alive. They want you to leave in a box. That's it. They realize and they know that their economy cannot stand if the black people are not participating. We keep them alive, family. We keep them nourished. We keep them doing what they do to control us. Because we keep their population flowing. We take every dime we got and spend it on them. That's why I don't understand why they're so hard pressed on not giving us compensation or reparations. Because the average black person is going to give it right back to them, and their economy is just going to have another boost. But they're fearful of the talented 10. The talented 10 that Du Bois speaks about, they're worried about them. Those talented 10s would get together and build something great in this nation. That's why what we're doing on Beulah land, a lot of people will not like that. Do you remember back on the plantations, on the slave plantations, when a black man would rise up with the other black men and they would set out a plan to escape from Massa?
Mm-hmm.
Massa always found out because another slave would go back and tell. Do you know that? Times have not changed that much today, family. There are a lot of people sitting around hating on us for what we're doing because they have the mind, a reprobate mind like Master. Their mind state, their thinking, their development is like Master. And whatever we do to make us great, to make us strong, to give us immunity, they're trying to destroy it. They talk bad about us. They disrespect us. They try to do all types of things to stunt our growth. But the one thing that they're not paying attention to is that Beulah land is owned and operated by the Creator, not flesh and blood. We don't own anything. The Most High owns Beulah land. Therefore, the schools that we got on Beulah land is going to flourish. The houses we have on Beulah land, they're going to flourish. The population and all the doing, the medical centers, and all the things that we have on Beulah land that's in the workings, they're going to flourish because they belong to the Most High. And we submit over to this king. That's the secret to our survival. The European nations didn't realize this. Pharaoh didn't realize this when he tried to destroy our people. But the Most High got a plan for all those who walk in uprightness before him. He has a plan. Go on, please.
Okay. Verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh store cities, Pithom and Ramesses, or
So therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with heavy burdens. A lot of those taskmasters look just like us. We're the hardest on our own people. We will, man, let me tell you something. You can go somewhere in anywhere in America, and the white man might be hard, or the other nations may be hard on you, until you run into a black supervisor. That black supervisor will be harder on you than the European and the other nations. That's just how we are. It's like we got a point to prove to our own people. It's because we have no compassion for one another. We have no love for one another. Heck, we don't even have love for ourselves, because if we had love for ourselves, then we would love our people. But that's not what's happening with our people. We're still under that curse. But the good news is that curse is being lifted every day. More and more of that curse is being lifted every day. A lot more of our people are waking up to the knowledge of the Most High, and a lot more waking up to the knowledge of who they are as the children of Israel. Read on, please.
Okay. Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and the more they spread abroad. And they were.
How many children was born during the pandemic thing we had? How many how many women got impregnated during the pandemic? How many children was born during the pandemic? Man, that thing was awesome, because they locked us in. They afflicted us. They oppressed us even harder than they was already oppressing us. And every time they oppress us, what happens? We increase and we multiply. What they're trying to do is destroy us, but you can't hold us back, because the Most High is going to set us free. And you're just in the way, stalling, wasting time with your efforts. The Most High is in charge of all this, and He's King. He has the last say. Read on, please. Chapter and verse.
Exodus, Shemot, chapter 1, verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and the more they spread abroad. And they were adread because of the children of Yisrael. And the Egyptians made the children of Yisrael to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard service in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field, in all their service wherein they made them serve with rigor. Verse 15. And the king
They tried all that. They tried to work us to death. We were still populating. We were still growing. Nothing was working. They tried everything they can think of. And then they said, we're going to start killing them. But they didn't try to kill the women. They didn't try to kill the women. They tried to destroy the men, because they didn't want the man to grow and to populate and join in warfare against their enemies. They try to take away the strength of our nation, just like they do today. Women, I'm going to tell you, women, they don't have any problem helping y'all. They will help a woman to rise up in her mind, her body, in every way possible. But the moment that a man reaches down for help, he has a hard time. He could be in the exact situation as the woman, but he'll have a difficult time. Because it's the men that they want to destroy more so than the population. Because they know that the woman, if the European man goes into our black women, they will produce Milano children. And if the two Milanos have intercourse, more than likely they'll produce European-looking, Caucasian-looking children. And that will prolong their days in the earth, because you are what your father is. They understand that. So it's the men that they really want to destroy. A lot of people don't understand the pressure of being a black man in America is. As part of a life that we have living in America as a man of color, a lot of people don't understand what that's like. And neither do they even want to understand. So they will destroy all the men and let the women live, because they know that they can rule and control over our women. Because they're going to give you different things to pacify you, and you're going to let them do what they want. That's another reason why they're trying to sissify the majority of our men. They can make a male think like a woman, then he's lost the battle already before he even have to fight. If they can make a man sissified and think and act like a female, he ain't gonna be thinking about that man going to war nowhere, because he ain't going to. He ain't gonna fight back. They're not gonna fight back. Therefore, they put chemicals in our food and drugs in our food and our water to cause your mental state to change from a powerful, dominant force to a timid, feminine force. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I was born this way." You wasn't born this way. They made you this way from birth. That's the difference. They made you this way from birth, and you being born this way are two different things. A lot of us have homosexual males right in our neighborhoods, right in our communities, right in our own homes. Many of us got them living right in our own homes. But it's usually the women, correct me if I'm wrong, sisters, it's usually the women that give their homosexual sons a pass. Oh, he's still my child. He's still, so what? No, he's not right. He's not right. And what you're doing is you're allowing him to maintain that feminine nature. I promise you. Cause him to be a vegan. Cause him to be a vegan for a good year or two. And watch, after a while, he'll start getting back his masculinity. Watch the waters he drinks. Watch the food that he eats. And he will start getting masculine all over again. He will start gaining back his masculine energy. But you also got to pray to the Father for help. The Father will guide you along the way and show you how to do it. Because they're poisoning our foods with these chemicals. They're poisoning us. And with that poison, it's called atrazine. Atrazine is one of the chemicals that they put in our food that's causing the males to be feminine and the feminine women to be masculine. They're trying to do role rehearsal. This is just another trick that adversarial force is using so that they can keep the population of our people down. 2 women cannot produce anything. 2 men cannot produce anything. Therefore, if they reverse the roles, they will make you desire what is not you. Atrazine, look it up for anybody that's not familiar with it. Sister Ornette, I see you in the room. Are you coming up on the stage, on the platform? If you are, sis, come on, pop up. Let's do what we do. This all is intentional. But in the ancient days, they wasn't using chemicals for those things. And I do want y'all to know that a lot of the Egyptians at that time was practicing homosexuality. A lot of the Egyptians was practicing homosexuality. But they don't talk about those things. They don't let you know all those things. That's right, sis. They're definitely poisoning us. They are doing these things intentionally. So we say, the Exodus was 2,000 something years ago. That ain't happening now, but it is. It's still happening today by any means necessary. There you go. All right, Ima, let's read on, please.
Okay. Exodus, Shemot, chapter 1, verse 15. And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah.
Shiphrah and Puah. But watch this now. They say that these were Hebrew midwives, but it doesn't tell us the nationality of these people. It does tell us their job and their names, but it does not tell us their nationality. Read on, let's see what happens.
And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, ye shall look upon the birth stool. If it be a son, then he shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared the Most High and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but
Wow.
saved the children alive.
They feared the Most High. Why did they fear the Most High? Why did these midwives fear the Creator? But it was such a good thing that they did. But let me tell you, fear doesn't always mean that you're afraid. A lot of times, fear means that you honor. You don't want to disappoint. You don't want to let down. Remember, our people was practicing all types of religions at this time. We were all up deep into idolatry. So although we were deep into idolatry, we were still worshiping the Most High on small numbers. But the Most High still knew who we were. He still knew that he had a plan for us. But yet we were practicing idolatry. We were practicing idolatry heavy. Heavy. There was a small minority of us at this time who was worshiping the Most High. We had got amalgamated into the Egyptian culture, just like we are today here in America. There's so many of us today that are wrapped up in idolatry because we're wrapped up in the American ways. Just like our forefathers was back then. And we have no idea or no understanding of what's really going on in our lives as far as the Most High. The word Shifra in Hebrew, I believe, is beauty. It's a word that means beauty. And whether she is a Hebrew Israelite or not, we're not sure. But the majority of our people was practicing idolatry. But for some reason, these two midwives feared the Most High. They feared the Creator. So somebody had some knowledge of the Most High because they didn't want to let the Most High down. But I also want to draw emphasis on this. What is a midwife? A midwife, Iman, can you put your phone on mute, please?
Okay.
A midwife is a person who delivers children. A midwife is not even a big political person. Basically, on the order of government, a midwife is nothing. Pharaoh is the king of Egypt. And what he says is everything. Therefore, if he says something, everybody obeys Pharaoh's voice. Do y'all follow me so far? Everybody obeys the voice of Pharaoh. But Shifra and Puah, two nobodies, two nothing, decided not to obey Pharaoh's voice. Do you know what it took for them to do that? See, a lot of times we read through these scriptures and we just run over things. We just read. I know y'all read this a million times. I know it's been read to you a million times. But when did you ever stop and just think about what Shifra and Puah may have sacrificed to make sure that Moses was born? They actually put their lives at stake for unborn children that they did not know. Pharaoh told them to kill them. They looked at Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, you're crazy. We're going to defy you. And that's what they did. They defied the governmental orders. So let me ask you a question, just a small question. How many of you defied the governmental orders when they told you to get that jab? How many of you were strong enough to stand strong and trust on the Most High and not get the jab? Because these people don't have anything good in their minds for you. And until we realize that, we're going to stay divided. We got to understand the common enemy here and pull our resources together as a people. We got to understand who is really seeking to destroy us. We have to understand that. Just like our forefathers back in the ancient days during the time of Moses, we had to understand who the enemy was. And they understood quickly. They got together. They were still in paganism, but they got together in majority numbers. A lot of our elders were still worshiping the Creator. We had a secret order, a select order, where our forefathers, some of them were still doing what was right and pleasing in the eyes of the Almighty. Some of them wasn't. The majority of them wasn't. But there was enough of them that when Moses came back and he said, hey, they said, yes, what's up? He said, let's go. They said, all right, we out. The elders. The hidden messages in the book of Exodus. How many of us have actually paid attention to the sacrifices that Shiphrah and Puah made to make sure that Moses was born? That ain't nothing but the hand of the Most High on them. They didn't do that because they were afraid of the Most High and his wrath. They did it because they didn't want to let the Most High down. Understand that, family. They didn't want to let the Almighty down. But what did they know about the Almighty is what I'm really trying to get to you. How did they even know about the Almighty? How? Because it wasn't as easy as, oh, the Creator, Yod-Heh, Wah-Heh, Yotzer, okay, let's do right by him. It wasn't that simple. It wasn't that simple. And a lot of us had no knowledge or understanding of it. It was like the Most High is right now in the earth. A lot of people, we walk away from these religions, but we bring those religions with us when we come into the service of the Creator. Although we might not say it, we still hold on to idolatry when we come into the service of the Most High. And that's what our forefathers did. And you know how you know that that's what they did? Because soon as Moses was gone past the time limit that they gave him, they resorted back to what they understood. The idolatry that they had incorporated in their worship along with the Creator. And that's why the Most High still has us in captivity now. Because the majority of us, that minority that he has in place, the majority of them are still practicing idolatry. And he needs to get that out of our system before he can remove us. He don't want to make the same mistake twice. I can understand that. He's waiting for us to return to him. He gave us all the signs and all the warnings that we needed to see. But we're still practicing idolatry, just like Moshe and the rest of the family, not Moshe, but the rest of the Hebrew Israelites at that time are practicing. And I'm sure Moshe practiced idolatry for a period of time because he lived up in Pharaoh's house. And that's deep, deep idolatry. I'm sure he had to. There's no way to get around it. Read on, please. Hold up, Ima. Sister Ornita's here. Sister Ornita, are you available to read with us today?
Okay.
All right, Ima, would you surrender your portion of reading over to Sister Ornita so she can read for us today? Are you willing to do that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. And Ima, thank you for being so lovely and kind and beautiful and everything like that, to give up and surrender a little bit of your authority over to Sister Ornita so she can read for us. May the Most High bring you blessings upon blessings upon blessings. Let's rock and roll.
Where are we at?
Ima, where are we at?
We are in the book of Shemot, Exodus, chapter 1, verse 16.
Reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 16. And he said, when do ye office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools? If it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
If it's a son, put him to death. If it's a daughter, she shall live. How often have something like that happen in today's time? Think about this for a family. Let me ask you one question. How many women of color do you know that has been pulled over by the police and died? I know one. But I can name hundreds, at least 100 black men without hesitation that has been killed by the police in a car stop or in a questioning by the police. I know one sister that has passed away. She died in police custody. They claimed they took her to jail, and she died in jail. But we know what happened to her. It's not a question. We know who killed her. But when we think like this and we have this kind of knowledge of things, my question would be, what do we do about it? How do we handle it as a people, as a nation? Because I promise you, if it be any other nation, like the Chinese people, the Koreans, if it was any of them that was being destroyed on vast numbers like our people, this government would have came down. They would have ripped it up. They would have destroyed all type of things on an economic level. They would have destroyed all types of things. But because we have no power, we have no voice. And we have no power, no voice, because we have no unity. If we had to say so to cause things to change, we would have done it overnight. If it was a Jewish person, they would have wreaked havoc. And the Jewish people would have came together and stuck together and shut the United States down, or shut that city down until the United States government did something about it, and then that city would have been able to operate. We don't understand our power. Our strength is in the mighty dollar right now. The Creator, our true power and strength and shield, has given us the ability to allow their economy to flow. And we do it by spending money. All we need to do is stop spending money for a week. All we need to do is for 1 week, stop spending money. But the problem is, Israel can't get together strong enough, long enough to do that. Because if we could, and if we would, it would be a beautiful thing. If we could just get their attention by coming together, uniting mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and stop doing it on a certain week throughout the year, I would suggest it be around Christmas time, a week in December. Shut it down. Just don't spend no money, don't spend a dime. And you will be surprised at the effect that will have on us. That we will be able to manipulate the government so that we can finally get some justice. But the problem is getting enough of us together to do something and cause and organize something of that level. I was watching this documentary the other day, and I forgot who the documentary was about. Oh, it's a brother. I don't even remember the brother's name. I think I shared it on my YouTube page, my Facebook page. And the brother says that back in the day, he used to work for these drug dealers. And the drug dealer was a big-time drug dealer. And don't knock the brother for the way he make his money. That's how he make his money. That's what he did. He's a big-time drug dealer. And he was so big that he went over to Korea, or wherever he's getting his drugs from, to purchase his drugs. And he said that in the process of the meeting, they went and met with the triad, the head mafia organization over there in China, Korea, one of those places, the head organization of the triad community, the government, the mafia, Chinese mafia. So he says while he was over there, the second in command, or the top man, was talking to the other man, and they were talking to the black men. And he turns around to the black man. He says, I respect you, black guys. He said, I think it's something that you need to know. He says, do you know that you guys are black and you are the leaders in America? He said, you're the leaders in America. He says, Whenever you do something, all the other people want to follow along with what you do. He said, you're the trendsetters. You wear your pants down, everybody want to wear their pants down. You wear your hat to the back, everybody want to wear their hats to the back. He says, you make your rap music, and now everybody want to sing rap music. He said, you guys are setting the pace for the rest of the world, and everybody else see it. You guys are so strong. He said, everybody else sees what you guys do, and you're actually setting the pace for the rest of the world. He says, but the only thing I don't like about you, the only thing I don't like about your people is y'all cannot work together. He said, y'all are so quick to give up on each other. You're so quick to give up on each other. And he's right. That's a fact. We are so quick. As soon as things don't go the way we want for things to go, we out. Or as soon as somebody offers us something individually against the collective, we out. Soon as we see something in our favor as an individual that's going to benefit me and promote me, we're out. And that's one of our weaknesses as a people. We're too divided, just like Sister Sharon said. We're too divided, too separated. So what I need for the rest of the family is now on, let's talk about unification of our people. Let's talk about unity. Let's talk about working together. Even if we can't physically come together, let's talk about working together to help each other's movement to grow and develop into a higher level of order. If my brother got something good over there, it don't hurt me. It benefits me, because when you look at it as a nation, somebody is seeing some black man elevating. And if that nation, if that black man is about nationhood, then he's going to help me to elevate. And if we helping each other to elevate, and then somebody else come along and be a part of that cycle, then all of us will come up simultaneously. That's if we're not physically in one location. Now, if we get physically in one location and put all of our resources together, we come up quicker and better and stronger. And that's a beautiful thing. Those are the types of things that we need to do. Put all of our resources together, come together, work together. And if we can't physically come together, at least we can work together. But too many of our spiritual leaders are stuck on individuality. Everybody wants to see themselves do something so others can talk about them. And that's not what this is about. I want to see the nation come up. I want to see all of us come up, and not just one of us. May the Most High be praised. All right, Sister Ornette.
Verse 17. But the midwives feared the Most High, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive.
They saved the male children alive. And one of those male children that they saved happened to be Moses. Read on. Let's watch this, family.
Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, Why have you done this thing, and have saved the male children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered before the midwives come in unto
Now,
them.
Stop for a second. They got crafty. They got crafty. They had to get crafty, because Pharaoh would have sentenced them to death. And then those houses that the Most High blessed them with wouldn't have been worth anything. What did they say? Pharaoh said, well, wait a minute. He gave them an opportunity to explain their position. And what they said was, which was a very, very good answer, if you think about it, because they're really saying we didn't have anything to do with the birth of the children. We didn't defy your laws. He said when we came in, they was already delivered. They didn't need our assistance. But we know what really happened. The Most High blessed them young women. He blessed them. He protected them. He provided for them. Same thing he'll do for us if we would just trust in him like the midwives did. Because those midwives have to put some trust, some form of trust in the hands of the Creator. When they defied what Pharaoh said for them to do, they had to put some trust in the hands of the Most High. If we could just trust in the Most High half as much as those foreign women, those midwife women, as much as they did, if we could do that half as much, trust in the Creator, half of our problems will be over as a people. How you say, if we had the faith of a mustard seed, yeah, we will be all right as a people. But we don't. We don't truly trust in the Creator. A lot of us truly don't even worship and serve the Creator. A lot of us hear lessons like this that require us to do certain things, and we don't do it because we don't trust in the Most High. We really want to give in to our own desires. And if you really want to test a man to see if the man is truly a man of the Creator, let things go against him in his pleasure world, and you'll see what type of man he is. Let things go against him in his world of pleasure, the luxuries of life, and you'll see what type of man he really is. Like, for example, if this man is a man of the Creator who used to be about the streets, used to sell drugs and steal and rob and all that type of stuff, let his money run out in this life and see if he resort back to that life, but yet still stand on the podium talking about the Most High. And you would know because you're his wife. If he resort back to those things, then I'll let you know he's truly not a man of the Most High. And if we can put that kind of trust in the Most High, like those Shifra and Pua did, we will be halfway done this captivity. Read on, sis, please.
Verse 20. Therefore the Most High dwelt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and became very mighty.
And
And
the
it came to pass.
multiplied and became very mighty. Read on.
Verse 21. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, that he gave them families.
They did
And
what?
that he gave them families.
Because the midwives feared the Creator, he gave them families. One of the greatest blessings that a person can have today is family. The Most High blessed them severely. He gave them family. So prior to the Most High blessing them, they didn't have no family. Read on, please.
Verse 22. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born, ye shall cast him into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Does that sound familiar, family?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound familiar in today's time? Read on, please.
Reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to a wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived, and bore a son. And when she saw him, that he was a beautiful child,
Now,
she hid him.
there are books that teach that, like the Quran, they teach that when Moses was born, there was a light around him. And that's how his mother recognized that he was a goodly child. And his mother's going to see this child, that he's a goodly child, and she's going to try to hide him as long as she could. Now, this was after Pharaoh just decreed that all the Hebrew boys that are born should be cast into the river. He didn't say some of them, he said all of them. So Miriam, not Miriam, what's Moses' wife, his mother's name? Anybody know?
Jochebed.
That's correct. Thank you very much. Her name was Yoshebed. Anybody know his father's name? Does anybody know Moses' father's name? Sis, read that again, please. Nobody knows his father's name. All right. Sis, read that verse again, please.
Verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to a wife a daughter of Levi.
Now, what was that man's name of the house of Levi that took the...
Amram.
Say it again.
Amram.
Very good. Thank you very much. Amram. Amram and Yoshabed was Moses' parents. And Amram and Yoshabed was uncle and aunt, I believe it was. Now, niece and aunt. I mean, nephew and aunt. I believe that's how they were married. They were related in that fashion. Read on, please.
Verse 2. And the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw him, that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months.
She hid him how long?
3 months.
So now, let me ask you this question, family. How many women have a child for 3 months, that child's alive, and she don't give him a name? Do any of us think that that's possible? How many women have a child and hide that child for 3 months without giving that child a name? Moses' name is not Moses. The name Moses was given to him by Shiphrah. Her name is Shiphrah, correct? Pharaoh's...
It's not Pharaoh's daughter.
Yeah, what's her name?
I have to look it up. It's not
All right,
Shiphrah.
well, we're going to get into it. Shiphrah, I believe her name was. But anyway, I could be mistaken. I probably am on this one. So we'll find out in a moment. But Pharaoh's daughter, was it his daughter, his niece? I'm not sure what it was. It may
His
have been
daughter.
his daughter. But Pharaoh's daughter gave him that name. So what was Moses' name before Pharaoh's daughter named him? We don't know the answer to that because the scriptures doesn't give it to us. Even in Arabic, it's Musa. In Hebrew, it's Moshe. In English, it's Moses. Okay? I honestly don't know, but believe me, Moses had a different name given to him by his parents.
Her name
Well,
is.
I don't, Sister Sharon, I don't know about noticing the difference of his features, but Moses grew up knowing he was Hebrew. And all that's going to come out later. Moses grew up knowing he was a Hebrew Israelite. His mother breastfed him for 3 months before she put him in the basket. And then Miriam is going to follow the basket. The Moses' daughter is going to find him and then give him back to his mother to wean for 3 years. So Moses went right back to his parents. But it was lawful now because she was Pharaoh's daughter. And they made it happen where Moses is going to grow up for 3 years. And I'm sure she called Moses by his name. And I'm sure she taught Moses his identity. So all those movies you see where Moses didn't know he was a Hebrew, he was introduced to the slave and all that stuff is false. Torah doesn't support that theory. Torah lets us know that Moshe knew exactly who he was. Read on, please, Sister Ornette.
Verse 3. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes.
She
Took
for him. What does it say?
She took for him an ark of bulrushes. So she must have made it. And daubed it with slime with pitch.
Now let me share this with y'all. How many of you right now today can take a basket and make it waterproof and put it on the water strong enough with your child in it? How many of you in place of an emergency could do that? Do you even know where to start? See, our women wasn't like women of yesterday. They wasn't like that. The women in yesterday knew how to do things of that nature, home economic things, just natural things for them, because we lived in that world. You know, it was a different world back then. The men of yesterday wasn't near, nowhere near the quality of watered down versions of men we got today. The males today wouldn't survive if they had to go. If it was a time machine that would take them back in time and they took them back several thousand years, they wouldn't survive because they don't have enough fortitude. They don't have enough dominance. They don't have enough confidence. They don't have enough determination. Therefore, they can't receive the knowledge. But in the ancient days, here it is on a whim. Moses' mother just says, let me make a basket and let me waterproof this basket and let me put my child in it. And how many of us trust the Most High enough to take our 3-month-old baby, put him in a basket, and send him off in the river and trust him into the hands of the Creator to provide for him? That's what I'm talking about. We're dealing with a different breed of people. But that's the type of energy and trust that we have to have for the Most High. This book is a book of remembrance to teach you how to get in proper alignment with your Maker. How many of us would trust the life of our child in the hands of the Most High? By putting them in, let me tell you something. The Nile has alligators in it. There's alligators in the Nile. They will eat that basket. But what does she do? She trusts in the Creator enough. And many of them going to follow the basket down the road with alligators all around it. Piranhas, all type of dangerous things. See, we're not thinking about that. We're not taking all those things into account when we hear or read this story. But you got to remember, there were a lot of dangers in the Nile. And this woman, this Levitical woman, put her newborn son, 3 months old was he, into a basket and sends her out of his house alone with his sister just to watch to see what happens, to give a report. She's trusting the Creator to provide. Now, she was a Levite, so that Levitical order held on to the teachings of the Almighty. She's trusting the Most High to do it. How many of us got that kind of trust in the Almighty today? And if you don't have it, you have to build up to that type of stamina to be able to trust in the Almighty to deliver you in your time of need, to protect you in your time of need, to walk with you in your time of need. That's the level of excellence that we have to get to as a people before the Most High turn this curse around. Before we see any more powerful children being born like that. We have to be powerful parents in order to bring about powerful children. Sister Ornette?
Verse 3. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to see what would be done to him.
So his sister, she could have took the basket. She could have took the basket and ran and gave it to somebody else. She also had to have trust in the Creator because she did exactly what her mother told her to do without fail. It is a beautiful sight to see when you have children that follow the instructions of their parents to the T. Beautiful sight. I saw it. I witnessed it just this last Holy Week that we had. When your children obey you, it's not just good on them, but it's good on you to show that you have installed something within them that will make them humble themselves and obey you. I had one of mine down there, one of my stepchildren down there, and we had a conversation. And that man was so embarrassed in the words, the things that he said to me in front of other ones, back to me, just the slag of the tongue, the slip of the words, and the attitude, the conduct. Those things are so disrespectful. But to have children that obeys your voice is a gift from the Creator itself. And I've witnessed it with my own eyes. And it's a beautiful thing. Miriam obeyed her mother and her father and did exactly what she could have went in her own mind and said, oh no, something's going to kill my brother. Let me go get my brother out of there. I know what my mama said. I know what my daddy said. Like my wife was speaking earlier about doing with your own will, thinking with your own mind. And that's not the way we're supposed to do this. We're supposed to think with the mind of the Creator. We have to learn to trust in Him to deliver. And they did exactly that. Even their child trusted in the Almighty. Read on, please.
Verse 5. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. And her maidens walked along the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
Now watch this for a minute. What made Pharaoh's daughter go to the riverside to bathe herself at that particular time, at that moment? What even made Jochebed put her son in a basket at that particular time, at that particular moment? What made Miriam decide not to interrupt the trust of her mother with the Creator and take the child and move him on the side? Everything was done in order, proper sequence at the Most High's time. So family, what am I saying? I'm saying that if you're supposed to be something, the Most High is going to cause you to be it no matter what the adversary will say. If you're supposed to do something, the Most High is going to give you the opportunity to do it or walk away from it, but He would rather you do it if He has an assignment for you to do. No matter what anyone has to say, the Most High is going to set the foundation. He's going to put you in the right place at the right time. He's going to make everything work in your favor for you to complete the mission that He has for you to do. We have to trust in the Creator. The Most High made her show up at the moment that, and then not that He just make her show up, He actually turned her head so that she would see it. He actually moved her spirit so that she would feel it, because she could have said, this is a basket. One of them Hebrews trying to save a little baby. Go get that basket and kill that child. It could have been that she just lost a child. She could have been pregnant. Her child could have passed away. And now the Creator replaced it with a Hebrew child. And that's probably how she was able to get over with all these people not saying, but you wasn't pregnant. How you got a baby? You never know. Remember, because the Egyptians was black, just like us. So who would know? Read on, sis. Let's see what's happening.
Verse 6. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children.
The Most High moved her heart that she had compassion on him. Read on, please.
Verse 7. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee?
Moses' sister came and said, hey, you got a new baby, huh? Should I go fetch who? What did she say? Can I go fetch who? The child's mother? What did she say? Read that, please.
Shall I go fetch a nurse of the Hebrew women?
Should I go fetch a nurse? Then what she say?
Of the Hebrew women, that
Of
she may nurse the child for thee.
That she may nurse the child for thee. So Moses
Miriam was at the right place at the right time.
Moses just actually went right back to his mama arms that just trusted the Creator to send him down the river where he was in the possibility of losing his life. Do y'all understand how the Most High works? At least do you see it now, how the Most High works? The Most High is awesome. He's powerful. He knows all things. He will strategize in your favor if you just trust in Him. If you just lean on Him for these hard times and struggles that you're going through, the Most High will deliver. He might not deliver everything when you want him to, but he will give you things when it's time for those things to be revealed. Read on, please.
Verse 8. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages.
She got paid to take
Mhm.
care of her own child.
Yep.
What a blessing. See what the Most High does for us? If we could just trust in the Creator, your worst nightmare will turn into your greatest blessing. She ain't got to hide the child no more because she got it under Pharaoh's orders that the child can live in her house. The child is protected by the government. No harm going to come to her. Why? Because she trusted in the Creator. How many of us trust the Most High that well? She didn't know what was going to happen. But because she trusted in the Almighty, the Most High turned it all around and gave her favor. And now she getting a welfare check. She ain't got to leave her house. And she probably was paying her wealthy. Whole lot of pension checks or whatever you want to call it. She was getting paid to take care of her own child. Whereas before, she didn't even know if her child was going to survive the dangers of the now. But yet she trusted in the Almighty. A lot of you, your children is so bad, so terrible, so disrespectful. They don't even want to serve the Creator a lot of times. And what you do, you just give them a pass and say, you know what? You go ahead and do. You're grown now. Go do your thing. It is what it is. But you don't trust in the Creator to bring that child back into his right mind or her right mind. You don't trust in the Creator. You don't think on the Creator in that manner. What you do is you let your child do whatever your child want to do because they're grown. Yoshebed gave her child to the Most High and said, Most High, have your way. And he did. He had his way. And Moses made it right back to her with benefits. Read on. Let's see what's next.
And the woman took the child and nursed him. And the child grew. And she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter. And he became her son.
So the child grew. She nursed him and the child grew. And when he was old enough to be weaned, Yoshebed brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter. And then she raised him. Do y'all see what's going on? How could anybody say Moses don't know he's a Hebrew? How could anybody get that story mixed up? Read on, please. She got a pension check. Okay. Read on, please.
And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water.
She called his name Moses. But he had a name before he was named Moses by his parents. Pharaoh's daughter called his name Moses. Read on, please.
Verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moshe was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burden.
He went out amongst who?
His brethren.
His brethren. Read on.
And looked on their burdens. And he observed an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw there was no man, he slew the Egyptian
Now,
and hid him in the sand.
why would he slay the Egyptian if he did not know he was Hebrew? He slew the Egyptian because he hid his brother. How many of us got that kind of brotherhood for our brother? That we would actually take somebody out for the life of our brother, for hitting our brother. How many of us got that kind of loyalty to your biological brother? That if your biological brother has a problem with somebody, you got a problem with somebody. You got a problem with them too. Most of us, most of our people today, if my brother got a problem with somebody, that's my brother problem. I ain't got no problem with you. You still my friend. My brother might not mess with you, but we cool. We have no loyalty. We have no honor amongst ourselves and amongst our family members, let alone just our brothers in Israel. We have no honor. And we don't show unification in almost anything that we do. Read on, please.
Verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said unto them, it's the God, and he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smilest thy fellow? And he said, who made thee prince and judge over us?
Who? What? Now, what? Wait a minute. What just happened? Moses go out and see two brothers, two Hebrew men fighting against each other. See, I'm gonna share something with you, and then I'm gonna jump on it. Moshe saw two Hebrew men fighting each other. So Moses go to the two Hebrew men and say, "Hey, y'all, why y'all fighting? Y'all brothers. Y'all ain't supposed to do this." See, Moses wasn't raised up in the hood. That's a hood mentality. To fight against each other, it's a hood mentality, and that's why we do it. Moshe was raised up in the suburbs. He was raised up in prosperity. He was raised up with riches. It's a different code of law that they deal with. They fight for each other. So Moshe, he got a little bit of that insider information on how to be there for your brother, where the real brothers in the hood didn't get that portion of the information. They was about self. So when Moshe saw that the two brothers who was in the hood was fighting against each other, this thing startled him. He said to the brothers in the room, why are you hitting your brother, man? That ain't the way it's supposed to be. And automatically, what did they say? The hood nigger thing. And
Who
people
made you
say,
a prince and judge over us?
who made you a prince and judge over? Who made you a prince that you can judge over us? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Moshe said, well, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This is not how we're supposed to do with each other. We're not supposed to have so much hatred in our hearts for our brothers. But we do. And we talking about we love the Most High. How can you love the Most High and hate your brother that's right there with you? How? It's not possible. Read on, sis.
So I'm going to read that verse one more time. Verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said unto him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thy fellow? And he said, who made thee prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou didst kill the Egyptian? And Moshe feared and said, surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and
Ain't
dwelt.
nothing hid in the hood. Ain't nothing hid in the hood. Nothing. Surely they knew that he did that. Because you can't hide nothing in the hood. Read on, please.
And Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs of water to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moshe stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to
So let's
Reuel,
talk about this situation for a minute. Because too often we read through things and just read through things and don't stop to focus on what these things are saying to us. Moses had been in the wilderness for a minute. He's walking across the desert, all the way from Egypt, all the way to Ethiopia, Midian. Right there, Ethiopia. And remember, he left in haste. He fled. He ran, trying to save his life. So he didn't get to take a whole lot with him. But he knew how to survive out in the wilderness, which a lot of us don't know how to do. The majority of us don't know how to do. But I promise you, your test is coming. Your test is coming soon. I promise you. Moshe went all the way in the desert, crossed all that land, hundreds of miles. Hundreds of miles he just crossed on foot, possibly on foot. He could have had a horse, but he crossed hundreds of miles traveling. And now he's ready to fight, to defend the honor of women that he don't even know. See, it's just something about Moshe that the Most High chose him from his birth. It was something about him. He possessed a certain character and quality and trait. Before he could even speak, the Most High chose him, because the Most High knew how he made him. And Moshe didn't fail one time to honor the Most High and be that stand-up person that he needed to be. Moshe standing there, and two women, those women are having trouble with those shepherds. And Moshe stands up and take on the challenge of those shepherds. They might have gotten to a fist fight. They might have gotten to a word match. Whatever it was, he actually risked his life for justice, because it was wrong what they were doing. So he risked his life for justice with people who were strangers to him. And he ended up being rewarded for it. He got a whole wife out of that situation. Not only did he get a whole wife out of that situation, he got introduced to the Creator through that situation. Now, her father, Ruel, Jethro, whichever one of those two was her father, and I think the story just told us Jethro. Her father knew of the Most High. Don't think that there's people who don't know of the Most High. Her father was a priest of Midian. He understood celestial things that a lot of us don't understand even today. And we got all this knowledge in the earth, but those most powerful forms of knowledge are being held in reserve. Her father knew of the power of Yisrael, the creator of all creation, Yotzer. He knew of him. And more than likely, despite all odds, the Most High calls this situation to come up just like he calls the birth of Moshe to be about the way that it went with Pharaoh's daughter-in-law. He did the same thing right here with Jethro's 7 daughters. Jethro has 7 daughters. That's another sign of a blessing of the Most High. That number, 7. That's how the scriptures give you a hint as to this person being favored by the Creator. 7 daughters. He was favored by the Almighty. Do you realize, and a lot of you may not, but I'm going to share it anyway, Jethro, his backyard was Mount Zion. His backyard. Moshe was out tending the flock of Jethro. When he was up in the mountain, he saw right up there in the mountain a fire burning on something. So he goes up there to check it out. You follow what I'm saying? He goes up there to check it out. Right in Jethro's backyard. So do you really want to stand here and tell me that Jethro didn't know anything about the Creator with his 7 daughters? And his 7 daughters just mysteriously happened to be at the well right when Moshe was arriving? Everything was strategically planned by the Most High to happen the way it happened. Read on, please. Let's see what happens.
Verse 18. And when they came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds.
Oh, who?
and also an Egyptian.
An
An
Egyptian.
Egyptian.
Why do they call Moshe an Egyptian? Probably because of
Because
the way he was dressed. Because remember, he was a prince of Egypt. So the princess ain't going to look raggedy. I mean, unless you're talking about me. I'll be looking raggedy all the time because I'll be in my work clothes majority of the time. But in Pharaoh days, in Egypt days, in Moses days, the princess ain't going to look raggedy. They're going to be sharp. And that's exactly what he was. But he was a little worn. He was a little worn, meaning he was a little dusty and dirty and you know, his clothes had a little grime on them. But he was dressed in royal apparel. And he probably had on some jewelry. Can you imagine that though? He walking through the wilderness all the miles, and he got jewelry on, he got garbs all on, and he by himself, and nobody robs him? Well, let me give you an example of why. Part of the reason why. If you've seen a cop right now dressed in a police officer's uniform, and he was walking down the street with a bag, he had jewelry on, watches, would you try to rob him? The average person would not. The average person, that police officer, would get a pass if he's in uniform. If he's not in uniform, different story. But if he's in uniform, he'll get a pass. Moshe had the uniform of the day on. He was dressed in royal apparel. And people didn't really mess with those people. You understand? Usually they didn't mess with those type of people of respect, because they never knew what they were about, what they were doing, or who they had behind them. But let's read on, please.
Verse 19. And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock.
Now Moshe's showing off now. He out there showing off now. He saw 7 women, and he ain't been with nobody. He was out in the woods by himself, in the jungle, in the wilderness by himself for so long, walking all them hundreds of miles, ain't got nothing to eat, nothing to drink. He's showing off. He gonna take his last little bit of strength and pour the water. First, he scared off the shepherds who was attacking them. Then he gonna pour the water, draw the water up out of the well. Then he gonna feed all the animals some water. Moshe showing off. He trying to impress the women. And by impressing them, he did just that. He was rewarded for his hard work. And watch what happens. Read on.
Verse 20. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread.
Oh, slow down, sis. You are so fast. I know you're so fast because you're excited, and you're doing a great, wonderful, exuberant job. I'm so happy that you're reading for us today because of the way you flow. Let me explain this to you, family. This is something that has been lost in our people for so long. The art of exchange has been lost in our people for so long. Somebody can bend over backwards to do something for you, and you say thank you and leave it alone. Jethro, he didn't ask his daughters, did y'all tell him thank you? Jethro said, well, where is he? How come you didn't honor him? See, words is one thing. Oh, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Which means almost nothing. When you go out of your way to entertain a person, to accommodate a person, to show hospitality to a person in respects of thank you, that says everything about who you are as an individual. Take some of your time and share with that individual. Take some of your food and share with the individual. Go out of your way to make yourself uncomfortable for the person who has done so much for you. And not enough of us know how to say thank you when we really need to give thanks to another individual. We think that words are enough in most cases. Well, I said thank you. Well, what? He just risked his whole life to do something for you. He spent his whole check. He can't even pay his own bills now to make sure that you was cool. And all you said was thank you. See, we don't have the mind of our forefathers. In the ancient days, a simple thank you was never enough. If a man saved your life, then you are indebted to that man for life until that man releases you. We don't understand that today. That means almost nothing to us today. If you were sleeping in cars and this man came and this man said, hey, I got a place for you to live. Come on, stay over here. You are in debt to that man. But people don't understand that. We owe them a lot more than a simple thank you. Words of gratitude don't mean almost nothing because you forget about it. I had a young man in my life that I met all but not too long ago. And this young man at this time, I talked to him and I gave him a little conversation. This young man said to me, well, I sleep right out here in my car. And I said, you do what? You sleep in your car. In my mind, I'm writing about all these different ways that I can help this young man to get out of a car and get in a bed somewhere. But I don't know how he's going to take it if I approach him and say, hey, well, listen, go stay right here. I got something for you right there. I don't know how you're going to take it because a lot of men are proud. A lot of them have ego. And actually, it was 2 men in 1 month. 2 men in 1 month. The one brother, this is the way that he thanked me. He said, yo, Prince, I really appreciate the man you've been and what you've done for me in my life. And I want to know if it's acceptable to you that I call you Abba. I can't fight with that. See, that young man right there understood a lot more of showing appreciation to another individual. He might didn't have much. He might didn't have much by way of finances where he can say, here, man, this is for you. But with that which he did have, he paid it back in humility and respect and honor. He said, hey, listen, man, I want to know if it's okay by you. He asked for permission too. I want to know if it's okay with you if I called you Abba from this day forward. That's an honorable thing. It's a real powerful thing. And it's a way of a man showing some form of appreciation. And I didn't do much. But what he felt, it was something that was worthy of praise as much as a man can give to another man. That's a high title for a man to call you Abba. It's a high form of respect. So if a man says to you, Abba, and that's something that you didn't ask for, that's because that man respects you on a high level. You can't ask for too much more than that from an individual. It's something for y'all to think about. But Jethro wasn't having it. You didn't bring the man home. You didn't feed the man. You just left him out there. What kind of daughter are you? That's not how I'm raising you. And today we have to raise honorable children. If we don't raise honorable children, then our future is held back that much more. We have to raise honorable children. And Jethro did exactly that. He raised honorable children, but they didn't do it at that time. But he himself was an honorable man. And what did he say? Go get him. We owe that man a strong form of gratitude. We owe him. And that's what a lot of people miss in this picture today. I had a brother call me up one day, maybe 3 months ago. He said, Prince, I got some bills due. I need some help. I'm short X and X and X and X. But I need your help. Can you help me out? So Prince said, all right, don't worry about it. I got you. either the next day or the day after. Prince gave it to me. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard from the guy yet. Haven't heard from him yet. What's honorable about that? But that brother, that guy, he don't know that in my mind toward him, he just dropped that much. He didn't even call up and say, yo, man, you did a hell of a job. I'm going to get it back to you. And just didn't get it back. He just left it alone. To me, that's a way of using an individual and not forming any kind of bond with the individual. That's not a good thing. And I pray that he hears this message because maybe it'll teach him a little bit about honor. When you got somebody in your life that's a stand-up guy, you never let them down. And you don't never, ever, ever want them to think bad about you. So you do everything in your power to make sure that they're always seeing you as a good person and you actually being a good person. I got 100 stories just like that one I just told you with different individuals. And every time it happens, it takes, I hold men like this until they show me they like this or like this. But if I'm just meeting you, you starting off fresh, you right here until you show me who you are. And once you show me, there's not too much that I can do for you. Because I'll just say I can, or I ain't got it, or I don't know how, I can't help you right now. Or I'll just give you a little small, tiny little bit or whatever it is. But for me to go overboard and extend myself to you, and you haven't proven yourself to be worthy of that, you ain't getting it. Let's read on, please, because I'm taking it somewhere else. But I'm taking it somewhere to teach us about honorability. Read on, please.
Verse 20. And he said unto his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moshe was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moshe Zipporah, his daughter.
He did what?
He gave the man his daughter.
And that's how he rewarded Moshe. Moshe did so much for this man that the man said, you know what? You're a thorough dude. I like you. Here, marry my daughter. He didn't ask Moshe, did you have another wife? You got 3 or 4 wives? Do you got a job? Can you provide? He said, no, here, marry my daughter. And that's what he did. And I'm sure that didn't happen overnight. It took a little bit of time. It probably not talking about it, but he saw something in Moshe that was worthy of bringing Moshe into his family. He said, Moshe, marry my daughter. Read on, let's see what happens.
Verse 22. And she bore him a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a foreign land. And it came to pass, in process of time, that the king of Egypt died. Are you talking? Because you're frozen. So I just want to make sure.
I am frozen, but I think you can still hear me.
Okay, perfect. Verse 23. And it came to pass, in the process of time, that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage, and they cried.
Now, what happened? The king of Egypt died and we cried?
And the children of Israel sighed by their reason of bondage, and they cried.
So we was crying because of our reason of bondage, not because the king who was bringing all that misery on us died. Read on, please.
And their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage.
Their cry went all the way up to the Most High by reason of the bondage. So what does that mean, family? That means today, if we cry unto the Creator by reason of our bondage, we just may be heard by the Almighty. And he may just begin to implement his actions to bring us out of this captivity. There was in 2014 maybe, we had what we called the National Day of Remembrance, where we went out to different parts of the earth and we cried unto the Most High for our captivity, for the Most High to release us from our captivity. We still here, but we still crying. A cry has to come from deep down within your soul. Read on, please. Sister Ornette.
Verse 24. And the Most High heard their groaning, and the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham and with Isaac and with Jacob.
Now,
And
let me jump on this a little bit. Remember, our forefathers was practicing idolatry, but some of us was worshiping the Almighty. But even in us practicing idolatry, the Most High heard our cries because we were in excruciating pain. And he remembered who we were. And he remembered his promises that he gave to our forefathers. And then he began to help us. But remember this, he began helping us before we started crying. Because Moshe was born, and he was born for this purpose. So even before the family started crying out to the Most High because of our bondage, the Most High had already put something in place because he knew what was going to take place. He knew he was going to need redemption. So he allowed Moshe to be born. He protected Moshe throughout his life. And he took Moshe on a journey. Sometimes, in order to talk to the Almighty, you got to get away from everything else. So he took Moshe out of the house of idolatry and took him into the house of a man who served him. And this man is responsible for teaching Moshe a lot of the things that Moshe learned about the Creator, the priest of Midian. He wasn't no pagan. He was a man who served the Creator. He was a man of honor and integrity. Read on, please, and let's watch what happens.
verse 25. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and the Creator knew their plight. We're going into chapter 3. Do you want me to continue?
Yes.
Reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 1. Now Moshe kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the west side of the desert, and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Creator appeared unto him in a flame out of the midst of a bush.
Now, this is strange, but you got to watch the flow and how you get ready to learn a whole lot of things right here, family. We get ready to get deep. Yeah, I like this part here. We get ready to get deep. So now, it says Moshe was keeping the flocks of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian, of Midian. And he led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Mount Horeb. This same is Mount Zion. Okay? At this place, Mount Horeb, Mount Zion, is where our people return to worship the Most High. When the whole mountain was on flames and the earthquake and the ground shook and all those things, it was this place right here. So at this mountain, they call this mountain the mountain or Har, the mountain of the Most High. And we got to remember this so far, family. And the angel, the Malak of Yohei Yotzer, appeared to him in a flame. Labah, in a flame of fire, Ish, out of the midst of a bush. Sine, out of the midst of a bush. Now, who was in the bush? Who was in the bush?
Elohim.
It was an angel. It was an angel. But I'm not saying that you're wrong, sis. It was an angel that was in the bush. And it's going to appear to Moshe out of the bush. Read on, please. I just want to make sure y'all understand what that says. An angel of the Most High was in the bush. Read on.
Verse 2. And the angel of the Most High appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Creator saw that he turned aside to see, the Creator called out unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Draw not near here. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Creator of thy father, the Creator of Abraham, the Creator of Isaac, and the Creator of Jacob. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High.
Who's talking to Moshe at this time?
The angel is talking.
The angel is talking. But every time when you read where it says Most High, it says Ha Elohim, the Creator. Because that angel is representing the Creator. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper with it. Moshe is having conversation with the Creator himself. You very rarely will see that throughout the scriptures, where the Most High himself is actually speaking to anyone. You will mostly see where the Most High servants or messengers come and do all the bidding for the Creator. But Ha Elohim, the Almighty, is actually speaking to Moshe, and not just Elohim. Elohim means any power. Any of the powers could have been. But it's not any of the powers, it's the power that's speaking to Moshe. The power. The Creator is dealing with him. Read on, please. Sis? Sister Ornate?
Slick, I couldn't get off mute. Verse 7. And the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a large and good land, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression, wherewith the Egyptians oppress them.
Now, let me share something with you, family. The difference between us and our forefathers at this particular time was that we don't believe we're being oppressed right now. So we don't have any reason to cry out to the Creator by reason of our oppression. The European took that desire from us and they pacified us with video games, with movies, with sports, basketball teams, football teams, baseball teams. That's why all these teams play a different time throughout the year. They all play a different time throughout the year to keep you entertained, to keep your mind off of the real situation, the real problems, and to cause you to be in a delusional state. They gave us alcohol, they gave us weed, and these two things are also utilized to keep our minds in a different place. Alcohol, weed, sports, these are the things of this world that's given to us to pacify us so that we don't see the real oppression that lies right before us. And the oppression is severe. We're dying out here in these streets. We can't eat the food. We can't drink the water. You got to pay for water today. Something that is free, like the air we breathe, you got to pay for water. And there's a lot of us who are paying for oxygen. Something that is free, we're paying for it. This world is really oppressing when you really sit back and think about what's really going on in this life today. They're shooting our bodies up with drugs and chemicals. You know, they're secretly involving things, introducing things to our bodies by the foods that they sell us. They're cloning meats and gluing meats together. They're mixing meats. You think you're eating beef turkey sausage or beef sausages, and those beef and turkey sausages both have a casing around it that's pork. Pork casing, that little skin that's around the sausages is pork. Most of them is pork. And they still sell it as 100% turkey sausages or 100% beef sausages, but it's really pork. So they're finding ways to kill us and to contaminate us without our knowledge. We don't think we're being oppressed right now. We think as long as we get a decent job and have a nice woman or a nice man by our side, and life is decent. We go buy a little house and we think that we're rolling, but we're not. We are still suffering and we are being oppressed. And our forefathers in the ancient days, although they had the luxuries of life like we have, they understood that they were still being oppressed. And they cried out to the Most High because of that oppression, and the Most High heard them. Today, we lost the art of crying out to the Creator because we are pacified in our situations. Everything is going hunky-dory for us. Yes, we're too comfortable. Everything is going hunky-dory. As long as we got more than the next man, we all right. And we think we're doing something. Now, I could look at my brother. He could be really going through some hard times. But as long as I'm not suffering like he's suffering, then I'm okay. Why don't you cry out to the Most High for the sake of your brother then? Because we are not our brother's keepers. That's why. We are self-engaged and self-involved. And it's not about our brothers any longer. Read on, please.
Verse 10. Come now, therefore, I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel.
That you may free my people. Bring them forth. Bring them to freedom because they're being oppressed. How many of us cry to the Most High for our freedom today? Probably none of us, because we've forgotten that we are being oppressed. This world has done a good job on fooling us and tricking us, making us comfortable. Like my sister said, giving us free Wi-Fi or giving us Wi-Fi at all. We're comfortable with these things. We found no reason to go buy some land and live in a community, put our resources and our strength and our monies together. We don't think like that. Read on, sis.
Come now, therefore, I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moshe said unto the Creator, Who am I, that I shall go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
Now I want to bring out something. This book has, and Moshe said to God, and we all know that God is what they use as Elohim. But my sister who said it, she said, and Moshe said to the Creator. And she was absolutely right. Because this conversation between Moshe is between Moshe and the Almighty, not Elohim. Not any power, but the power. The Creator is who Moshe is talking to. So when she said, and Moshe said to the Creator, she was absolutely right. But you won't see that in the English. You have to read it in the Hebrew to understand. Read on, please.
Verse 12. And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve the Most High upon this mount. And Moshe said unto the Creator, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The Creator of your fathers hath sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And the Creator said to Moshe, I am that I am.
Ai, Asher, Ai. I am what I will to be. Read on.
And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. And the Creator said moreover unto Moshe, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, The Creator of your fathers, the Creator of Abraham, the Creator of Isaac, the Creator of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever. This is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, The Creator of your fathers, the Creator of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob appeared to me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and they shall come, thou, the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto him, The Creator of the heavens, Sliga, the Creator of the Hebrews, has met with us. And now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice unto the Creator our power. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye shall not go empty, but every woman shall ask of her neighbor and of her who sojourned in her house, jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons, upon your daughters, and ye shall despoil the Egyptians.
May the Most High be praised. So I want to share something with you briefly. All my Hebrew scholars out here. When in verse 14, and it says, Elohim said to Moshe, I am what I will to be. That wasn't the Creator speaking. That was Elohim, not the Almighty. I am what I will to be. Thus shall you say to the Israelites, I ye sent me to you. That still is not referencing the Almighty. Okay? So I want you all to keep that in mind. So a lot of people are running around here saying that we are to worship I.E., Asher I.E., that we ought to call the name of the Most High by that name. But that's not what's being present in the scripture when you have deep knowledge of the Hebrew language. A lot of us don't have deep knowledge of the Hebrew language. Therefore, we do things like this, but it's okay. I'm not judging anyone for what their capacity of understanding is. If you decide that that's what you want to call the Creator, just know that that's not his name. It's not the name of the Almighty. Okay? And then you can do whatever you want to do. If you call it an attribute, or however you want to call it, that's fine. But don't say that that's the Most High's name, because it's not. It's not his name. All right, family, are there any questions or comments, anyone? I wish we had more time. We could have read a whole lot more, but it's getting late in the hour, and I know that you all are weary, and you all have been here for most of you the majority of the day. I'm so grateful and appreciative of all the energy and time that you spent with us on this Shabbat day. I pray that you have learned some things, that you are able to now take some things with you that you did not have in your understanding prior to this class. But I would like to hear from the family about some of the things that we may have learned today. Anyone? If you're in the audience, you can type it in the room. If you're part of the panel, you can unhook your mic and just begin to speak. Is there anyone who would like to share with us anything that they've learned today on this lesson?
Shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom, sis.
Shalom, shalom. Many parts stuck out, but one of the parts that stuck out to me in today's lesson was the part where you explain basically when Moshe's mother, the time that Moshe's mother put him in the basket, and the time that Pharaoh's daughter came to bathe in the river. All those things, like when it is your time to, like you said, be great. When is your time to do your purpose? That it doesn't matter what obstacles are in the way. If that is something that the Creator has set you on the path to do, it will happen. Just like that. Even when Moshe came and looked over and seen the Egyptian smiting his brother, why did that happen in that time? That set him even on the course to run, to meet Jethro, and all of those things, to put him in a position to see the fire on the mountain. He wouldn't even been there otherwise. So all of this was meant to be in prophecy, for his life. And so that is just very significant about our lives and what we are sent here to do.
May the Most High be praised. Absolutely. Glad you got something out of the lesson. Yama?
Cain. I agree with Sister Ornette, when she said that was going to be one of the points I brought out too. But the point I wanted to bring out also along with that is even his sister Miriam and knowing her role. You know, if we in our conscious mind can think that Moshe was taught to be an Israelite, was taught about his lineage, then even with Miriam watching the basket to see where it went, following it, instead she stood off to watch to see where the basket would land. It was like she knew to watch over him, and then it was like she knew to approach Pharaoh's daughter at the time to uh, fetch her so that she could basically bring him back to their home for the breastfeeding and the rearing up in his early ages. And so, everything, of course, we've said it before, it's all divine in the order that the Most High provided for it to be. And it goes back to today's earlier lesson earlier in the day when we were talking about instruction and following order. And the fact that if, we don't follow instruction in certain levels, we can alter the reality of what the Most High has already set to be in place. And of course, bringing up Shifra and Pua and their reverence to the Creator was so strong that they even knew the words to say to Pharaoh so that he would not bring death upon them. And in the end, we saw how the Most High rewarded them, for their strength and for their wittingness and willingness to allow the men or the males, the boys of that were born to live. So it's so much that the history of these lessons, and sometimes we, like you said, we read it so fast or we read over it, but the points that are being made are so relevant, especially in this day and time, because we're in captivity, and we're dealing with a lot of those same battles. It's just not in the same, it's not in the same format, if you will, but it's the same battles. When we look at our young men being murdered more often than none, and the fact that this world or this government keeps trying to depopulize, us and form or gather things to be able to make us unfertile or infertile for men and women. And something you brought out too was when you said that they're always going to first try to annihilate the man or the male because that is our strength and that's who carries the seed for the future. So to annihilate him or to get rid of him would mean it would be less of us, because if they impregnate us, then we're building up their future or their lineage. So I definitely appreciated all that was brought out today. So Toda Rabah for a great lesson. Great lesson, Dave. Toda Rabah.
May the Most High be praised. Toda Rabah. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience? All righty. All right, let's close it out in prayer, please. Would one of you two like to close us out in prayer? Is Azante there?
No, he left a while ago, about 45 minutes ago. If the co-ordinate if she doesn't want to, I will, but she can go if she'd like.
Ima?
Okay, one, yeah. Heavenly Father, We come before you begging for your permission to approach unto your throne. Total Most High, for allowing us to come and sit at your feet today, O Most High. Total Most High, for opening up the minds, the hearts, and the tongues of our Maureen today, Most High, and Nasakim, to bring your word, O Most High, that you guided their tongue, their hearts, and their minds, O Creator. That you allow us, the audience, the listeners, to hear the word, to ingest what we need to ingest from Most High, so that we can move forward with a new zeal, a new understanding, and a new empowerment of ourselves, Creator. We thank you, Creator, for bringing us to another Shabbat day. We ask the Most High that through the week that is coming forward, that you keep each and every one of us to return unto you, O Most High, the next Shabbat day and the next ones after that, O Creator. Most High, we thank you. We glorify your name. We honor and we praise you. We ask you, O Most High, to forgive us for our sins and iniquities, those known and unknown, done unto you, unto our brothers and sisters and ourselves. We ask, O Most High, to be your will, to heal the sick, to free those that are judged unjustly, to find and give covering, O Most High, to the unsheltered, to the fatherless and the widow. We ask, O Most High, that you be with all those who are carrying in their womb, O Creator, and allow them all to have a continued pregnancy and healthy and safe delivery. We ask, O Most High, that you be with those who will be in action with the mothers in delivery, midwives, to do the fathers, the families, to be an assistance in greatness, to add to the comfort, O Most High. O Most High, we ask that you remove any wickedness from us, O Creator, within us, O Most High. We ask, O Most High, that you continue to bless the land that you have provided us, you, Lord. Please, O Most High, continue to guard our gates. Continue to keep those that are unwanted, undesired, wicked, evil from the midst of us. O Most High, we thank you for the opportunities that you have blessed us with. We thank you for the unions you have blessed us with within growing as a family, O Most High. We came together this past holy season in different forms of family and became one, even stronger than before. And we thank you, Creator, for that blessing. We ask, O Most High, that even though we are all in different spaces at this time, that we remain in one space in our heart together, and that we're able to help one another in our most endeared times, O Most High. Most High, we thank you, we honor, and once again we glorify your high and holy name for all things and everything, and unto you do you deserve all the praise. We all say, Toda Rabah, Toda Abi, Abi, Toda Rabah.
All right, family. Most High be praised. And thank you all for coming out, spending your Shabbat day with us this day. Unto thee, Most High our power, we honor, we worship, and we praise thee. From everlasting to everlasting. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Before we close out, we do have just one announcement, or two, but Shavuot is on the schedule. Today is the seventh day of the Omer, and so Shavuot is going to be May 19th. It is a holy day, a feast day, and we will send out, personal invitations to all those who would like to come on the land and celebrate with us. And then a few days later, we are going to have our School is going to have our awards, and on May 23rd, our awards and field day program for our students is our end of the year program. School is over June 7th, but we'll also have a summer camp, so we'll keep you all posted on that. But May 19th is Shavuot. It is a Sunday, Yom Rishon, and we look forward to seeing you all. If you have any questions concerning the holy days or the school or anything concerning Beulah Land, please do not hesitate to message my Ish, Prince Kazardar, or Nasik Shema, or myself, or Nasik Amuna. We are here to answer any questions and give guidance as seen fit. So that's it. Zehu, shalom.
Ain Qatar, Shabbat Shalom, Ain. I didn't have the opportunity to say shalom to you, so I'm saying it now. Shabbat Shalom, Ain. May the Most High be with you. All right, family. May the Most High be with you all. Speak to you all again soon, Creator willing. Shalom, shalom.
Shabbat shalom.